All right, guys. So for this example, let's assume that it's me, Sean Buige, SHAWN BUIGE, that you have a notice of default on. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do, let's assume it doesn't matter if it's mortgage or foreclosure. First thing I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna use the information that's in whatever my source was, be it auction.com or realtytrack.com or the county, the county information as far as the tax assessor's office, whatever it is that's saying, okay, he's going toward foreclosure. They're going to give you information, usually a street address, the owner name, that type of thing. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find out how long that person owned the property. Now, in this case, I owned the house prior to this actual date, but it wasn't in both my name and my wife's name. When we first bought it, there was a couple different reasons we did it this way, but she had a more provable income, let's say, at that point. So we had that set up, and then we switched it over where both of our names, so there's my name, got onto the tax bill. So what's interesting is you've got the property ID information, you've got the physical address. I can even pull that bill, and I can get a little more information here. If I pull that specific bill, and in this case, again, you've got the parcel number and the PIN number, which is odd that it's two different things here. Normally that's the same parcel, and the PIN is usually parcel ID number. However, in Cabarrus County, North Carolina, in this example, they are different. You have a tax value of the property, and you also have, I'm going to show you here shortly. Here we go. Legal description. Okay, lot 26, part of 15 to 16 Delaware subdivision. This is huge for you guys to see this. Now, what I need to do is I need to make sure that this person listed in the tax base is the actual current owner, because I might have quitclaimed this deed. You can see the last entry, okay, was for 2018 bill. I might have quitclaimed it to someone else in the meantime, so you want to make sure that I didn't do that. So once I've double checked and gotten that basic information and used that in, let's see here, on the worksheet, okay, plugged it in. I know this is a deed flip worksheet, but it gives you the same exact information. Let's assume SunTrust Bank is foreclosing. They're not, guys. But anyway, there's my name. I'd put in the deed recordation date. I'm going to show you how to find that. The bank that's foreclosing, in this case it was SunTrust, I check this. Guys, you're not turning this into this. If you don't want to use this, if you want to halfway this, that's your call. You're going to blow it if you halfway it, okay? Auction date set, yeah, let's assume it's July 31st, date reviewed, and who the researcher is. This is if there's two of you working on it. I get that a lot. The property address, city, state. The other thing I would put in here, guys, hold on, just for your records, you don't have to necessarily have it right now because it's going to be on the deed, and I'm going to want you to print the deed. But what I would do is I would also print, or rather put, a short legal description, if that's something you could have pulled off of tax, and if not, then further down, and I'll show you that here in a second. So the short legal description, when you look at the deed, well, let's not look at that. Let's look at tax, because that's where we were, right? Tax bill search. Okay. If you remember, I showed you that's the legal description right there, right? So Control C, copy it, and that's the white pages thing. My bad. Okay. I'm going to put that in here. So copy and paste it, because I'm going to want that as a reference later. Now I need to find out, okay, when did Sean get this property? Now tax is saying, right? Tax is saying that I got it in 2005. We actually bought that property earlier, but let's look. Hold on. Let's start here. I'm going to start over and show you exactly how I found this. I put in the county name, Cabarrus County, North Carolina, Register of Deeds. You can also use land records, and that'll show you where you're at. You don't want to use, let me show you something. You don't want to use like a deeds.com site. you want to use the actual county site, which is usually a .us or a .gov site. So I'm going to go to the Register of Deeds, Cabarrus County. And guys, every county is going to be different. Don't get in touch with us and go, hey, we tried to use that for how you did it on Cabarrus in Withrow and it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. They're all a little bit different. You're going to have to figure out how to do it. I'm not looking for marriage license. I'm not looking for birth, marriage, or death certificates. I'm looking for online records in this Register of Deeds department. If you've got an option of shortened version and all that, first of all, they're almost always going to make you acknowledge a disclaimer. All this stuff is public knowledge. You've got imaging system, scan it, forget it. I want the full system, right? And it's coming up. It's got my information. Here's the index search. I put my name in. You see this often where there's a human or non-human option. Very important that if it's showing a company as an owner, you're going to want to use the non-human option. But human option, you've got my name. I want to find out when I first got this property. So in this instance, there's all these entries. Now, guys, I used to be a real estate agent, and I did a lot of out-of-town buyers. I worked with a lot of them where I had attorney in fact. So you've got an attorney in fact here for somebody. All this stuff is public knowledge, guys. So please don't give me a hard time about it. But what I'm looking for is a deed. I'm not looking for a power of attorney. And you'll get comfortable over time with what all these things mean, okay? So in this case, power of attorney or limited power of attorney, I got a deed here in 05, but that's lot 37, right? And this is an attorney in fact. You see that? You can kind of figure this out as you go. But all these are powers of attorney. They don't count. Power of attorney don't count. Again, I was a very active real estate agent that a lot of my buyers wanted me to go ahead and buy the house for them, basically have the agreement where I could do it. Sale of stock, that's not it. Power of attorney, power of attorney. Okay, so it's not in this group. Glad this worked out as it did, right? So I'm going to go to the next group. Now, I like to put the recordation date most recent first, right? So you're going back in time. These are satisfactions, right? Satisfactions, that's what that means. And you'll figure out what everything means over time as you work the county. It's not hard to figure out. Deed of trust is an actual mortgage, right? This was taken out in 08, and I'll come back to that. Because right now, all I'm looking for is what is the earliest deed with a matching legal description. In this case, they give us a legal description, which is awesome. All these are this is attorney in fact. You got all this information here. We've got a deed, but again, that's an attorney in fact. I've got a deed where I was an attorney in fact, so that doesn't count. I'm going to keep going. Deed. That was the person that bought my house, my last house actually. I deeded it in 01, but you can't really tell that by looking at this. So let's do power of attorney. Deed, 93. This is my first house. How do I know? Well, on these two, they're Weddington. This one's a Weddington Woods. That's a different legal description, right? So it's not the same property. People have owned different properties. That's why I got that legal description off the tax, because I wanted to know if I could get a match. Now, up here, I've got another deed. I don't know what that is, right? So, but it's an attorney in fact, so it doesn't count. That's me I'm signing for them. You're not going to usually find attorney in facts for other people, but just so you know, that's why I'm skipping it. I'm trying to find the earliest deed in my name. Now, in reality, I've got one here. These are quitclaim deeds to me. So first thing I'm going to do is look these up. And it's usually, this is actual, if you look at the deed, book and page, is the exact same. So it's a double hit. In other words, they recorded it twice. I want to look at the image. And you'll see that this is back in 18, legally separated. My wife and I separated February of last year. So finally in July, we moved it over. Quitclaimed it. That's because I refinanced the property and bought her out of her side of the value of the house. So I've got, take a quick look here, right? Legal description. Ward number 3, number 12, Cabarrus County. Boom, boom, boom. It is Summit Court, and the address will match. Let me show you. You got to make sure you're dealing with the same property, guys, right? So the mailing and property. If it's just mailing address, it might not be the right address. This is mailing and property, and that's it. So we know this is the right one. We know that I've got a deed in my name only in 18. So you know that you're only working with me as a seller because I'm the only one. Why? Take a look here again. Quick claim deed. Sean Bougie and Sharon Bougie. Boom, to Sean Bougie. Grantor is who's selling it or giving it. Grantee is who's getting it. I'm getting it. So that property is only in my name now. Okay, that's as of 18. So I know that's who had it as 18. I'm going to want to double check here. What I would also do, close this out. All right. Oh, none of that was, okay, here we go. So what I'm going to also do, that's a double recording. This is a mortgage right here, right? Just in my name. Let's take a look at it. And this was from, I'd be writing this down in the mortgages. Angel Oak Mortgage, we just saw that, right? When you see MERS, it means they're basically it's a pass-through for, you'll see it here, hold on. Gotta grab this a little different. But you've got a MIN number, which is MERS. That's the federal loan, right, to back this thing up. But anyway, Angel Oak Mortgage Loans, Limited Build Company, MERS Mortgage Electronic Registration System, okay. And you have the dollar amount here, 172. Got the date of recording. Here's when it was filed. Book and page. Boom. Instrument number, because sometimes that's different. Got the attorney that did it. This is a mortgage. And you'd be using the mortgage sheet and putting that in and seeing if it was taken care of or not. Now, hold on a second. If it was satisfied or not. So that's the ones for that group. All right. I'm gonna check this one too. Just double check it, right? Grantee to grantor. We had to move some things around. Power of attorney, deed of trust. These are also mortgages from 2010. These are things I'd have to double check, right? But right now, all I know is I got that mortgage from, it was in Sharon and Sean to Sean. I don't see any other, right? I don't see any other deeds here. So I need to find the deed when it was in both our names first. Because that was quick claim from Sharon and I to me. That was because we knew what the debt was and we weren't going to do anything else. It also means I have to do a search by Sharon because there might have been a mortgage in her name, right? Even though I remortgaged it. So let's check the top one. That's purchase and sale of stock. That's when I bought the company out from underneath her. Let's go to the directory again. There's 9 entries here. You can see there's a lot of satisfactions and deeds of trust from 08 and 2001. I'm going to come back to this. Okay. There's the quick claim deed again. Again, you've got double recording sometimes. And this is Lot 10 Weddington, so that description doesn't match, right? Those aren't going to be a part of it. Okay? You've got a satisfaction, a power of attorney, a deed of trust, a satisfaction. So where's the deed? That's the deed to Weddington Woods, right? When we sold the last house. So I'm not worried about that. I'm going to come back because I must have missed it. I need to find the deed when Sharon and I first got the house. There it is. Let's take a look. And you can see it. Look, even though it's recorded under Sharon's name as the deed, it's Mr. and Mrs. Sean T. Bougie. It's me, right? As far as where it's going to be sent to. Now let's scroll down. Sean and Sharon. This is the original deed from when we bought the house. This is when we first owned the house. And let's make sure, right? Lying and being in Ward number 3, 15 Cabarrus Grant. And let's see. else we got here? You've got a mailing address, but that might not have been, still might not have been the right deed, right? So you need to check to make sure. You've got all this easement information. Here's your book and page information, right? Up top. Right there. Okay, it's an old school way they used to do this. Tells who sold it to us. And this is a match, right? Subdivision 15 and 16 of Delwood, right? You see that? See how that's a match? Boom, boom, boom. Because it was a summary, being a part of lots 15 and 16 of subdivision Delwood. You've got all this information that absolutely matches what we had before. Okay? So that summary matches. This is the first deed that was had on the property. Now, what do we got to do? Well, at this point, we have to figure out what the debt was against the property, and we know this is recorded when? This is recorded 3/30/2001. So anything prior to that is going to be on a different property, right? So 3/30/2001 is when we want to start. We've got a deed of trust here. And let's do this. Let's actually do it backwards. Okay, let's go back. So there's two deeds of trust were open on that same day. We got a first and a second mortgage. So let's look at them. I'd be writing this down, obviously, on the mortgage sheet. Who was the holder, the amount, date it was recorded, book and page, the loan, term. Has it been satisfied or paid off? We'll find that out later. Is it open or not satisfied? Is it the foreclosing entity that's foreclosing on the property? Yes or no? Was it assigned to another bank? If yes, who has the loan now? And guys, if you see that, if it was assigned to somebody else, you need to write that next bank over here. This one's satisfied, but now it's going to be just because it was assigned, it wasn't satisfied. Whoever it was assigned to, it's now has that open mortgage and now owns that debt against the property. You need to understand that, okay? A lot of people, for some reason lately, have been turning stuff in, go, oh, look, it was assigned, so that's satisfied. No, it's not. It's just somebody else. They changed the name of who's owed the money. That's it, okay? So we got this one, March 30th, 2001, right? March 30th, 2001. So, I don't need the tax bill search anymore. I'm going to go. I saw that there were two deeds of trust. I'm doing it again for you, right? What's this? Again, this is what we were just on, but deed of trust is a mortgage. This one was for Summit Court in the amount of $12,900. Okay? Payoff date 2031. It's $12,091, March 30th. You want to look at who the beneficiary was, which would be, Charter One Mortgage, trustee and the beneficiary. They're the people that's the bank that owns this loan. March 30th, $12,900. I would be entering that on my sheet. Okay? All right. Now we're going to go to the next one. And what am I doing here? There was a second one taken out at the same time. All right? Let's take a look at that. Because I can tell you I paid more than $12,900. We got a first and a second mortgage to eliminate the need for us to pay mortgage insurance, PMI. Why I'm having an issue with this. Had a second mortgage. Sean Bucci. Lender was? Who was the lender, guys? Just skip through that, sorry. Charter One Mortgage. 109,650. Due 30 years, right? April 1st, that would be the last payment on that property. Trustee is just the trustee. That's the attorney. It doesn't mean that's for the bank. That doesn't mean it's the bank. bank was actually, again, Charter One Mortgage. I'd be writing this down, all this information down. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right, there's another deed. Recorded, same date, that's the deed we saw before. What do we got here? Deed of trust, 4/4/2001. I have a feeling this is a repeat. Let's take a look. Again, you'll see those. Equity line of credit, okay. Charter One, 6450. So we had actually taken out some money. I believe we did some, yeah, we did. We did some fix-ups. So there's 3 mortgages. One of them's an equity line of credit. We're taken out very quickly on that property. It's worth $300 now, guys, so I'm not feeling bad about that whole deal. All right, next one. Deed of trust. SunTrust. $2,008. Okay. SunTrust Mortgage Lenders Corporation. How much is it for? $156,000. So 156 grand. So this is a new mortgage. I'd write that down on the sheet. I don't see a satisfaction yet, right? As far as you know, right now there's $180,000 owed. I mean, $280,000 owed against this house. That's not the case, but still, what do we got here? Satisfaction. Charter One. Take a look. Satisfaction. That was for that 12/9 loan, right? Secured by, and it's going to reference all the information on here. Book and page, so you know you've got the right one that's been satisfied. You would mark that satisfied on your worksheet, okay? So you know that one's gone. So the 12/9's gone. Here's another one, satisfied, 2008, image. Satisfaction security instrument. What do we got? This one was satisfied. Get to where this is here. Telling when it was satisfied. It was $109,650. Obviously, we refied the house. Okay, we didn't get another mortgage. We refied it, but this mortgage satisfaction was recorded later. Okay, so $109,650. Still, there's that $64.50 outstanding, right? If you'd written all that down, you'd know that. So let's take a look. Oh, what's this? Satisfaction. Again, that's the $109,650. So that's a double recording. You're going to see those. It's okay. What do we got here? Satisfaction. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's true. It's probably a re-recording, but I'm still going to look at it. References the number in the folio. All right, I can tell you that's a read because I know the numbers, because it's referencing the book and page number of what's been satisfied. Let's take a look at this one. Satisfaction. Right, so it's telling you the book and page. Telling it's satisfied in full. So you'll know which ones are paid off. Now what I'm going to do I'm still going to look at this other direct, and a lot of places don't have these multiple directories, guys, like this. I just want to make sure that I hit everything. Okay. Agreement for purchase of stock. Nope. Let's check this one. Quit claim deed. We looked at that already. This is Weddington Woods description, so it's the wrong one. Let's put this in order as well, with the latest being here. Satisfaction. And what is this satisfaction, right? Because there's deeds here for Weddington Woods. We don't need that. There's a satisfaction that right here. Back in 01, that was, right? Show you that. That was on a different property. Weddington Woods. That's different. Doesn't even count. I'm glad I opened that. I should have known. Well, actually, it was just a late satisfaction, wasn't it? It wasn't recorded until later. So let's look at here. Deed of trust. Make sure we know what this is. Looks like it was a refi, so let's take a look. Sharon Lee and Sean Thomas. December 17th, 2010. 156. We saw that before. That was a refi of those other loans. That's why they were satisfied. And I've got all that information. Power of attorney, here's another satisfaction right here. Remember, this is the one. This was the refi where my wife and I were together at the time, and we refinanced all that other debt, paid it all off. Now, got 2018. Ta-da! They're just making sure we have the deed of trust satisfied. Because what? Because I paid off that deed of trust, that 156 grand, by refinancing the property. And I showed you what I had. 170, I believe 172,000 was the amount I financed. Easy to do, guys, as long as you're always filling this out. Let me just make a point. So you're going to put the mortgage holder, that's the bank, the amount, date record, and guys, if it's, mortgage holder, the amount of that mortgage, date recorded, the book and page, the length of term, 30 years was all that stuff. Was it satisfied or paid off? Yes or no? After looking through all the documents, you'll know that. Open, not satisfied, foreclosing entity. And guys, if it's not listed as satisfied or canceled or terminated, it's not. It's still on there. Somebody can, 10 years later, it could have gone up in enough value where they had $150,000 mortgage, and now they got another mortgage for 150 grand or 160. You don't know. So you've got to fill this out to keep yourself sane and to do your own title work. And you've got conclusion sheets. Now, what I would also make a note is if you see anything in the court, obviously, with judgments or liens, because those, if they're recorded in the same county as where the house is, they have to be taken care of as well. Now, in addition to this has been done for flat broke flipper, this one. In addition to this, you're going to see examples of title that were set up for surplus funds and for deed flip. They go into a lot more detail. They're filling out a different form, but the title work is pretty much the same. Okay. Main thing to remember is you've got to have this information. You got to fill this out if you're going to do a good job. And anybody that's going to buy this thing from you is going to want to see this stuff. Okay. And I made this number up, by the way, the 185, assuming that there was, attorney costs and so forth associated with the foreclosure. Another thing I do is you've got Zillow almost always comes in high. That's 235. 227 was a Trulia, and then there's the 169. In this instance, guys, in hot markets like the one I'm in, Cabarrus County right now, they're going up extremely fast. These two numbers would normally be right for the property in average condition. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to put it on for 300 just because I've completely maxed out the house. But without knowing that, you'd have to assume a lower value. Honestly, Jeff and I, in a situation like this, we'd put it around 2 as far as our notes up top, 200,000 estimated value, because we like going low against the total debt, against the property. Since everything was satisfied except for that last loan, And we happen to know that's the last loan foreclosing, and we've got a amount of 185. That's what I put for total debt, unless I found an IRS tax lien or something else against this guy, me, right? The other thing is you can find the bedrooms and baths and square footage usually on the tax. Foreclosure judgment amount, sometimes you have to estimate that, guys. Sometimes you can verify it by a notice of default. Total of other debt or mortgages is in there. And then again, I'd put another line in here if you happen to find, I mean, I had one recently where there was, good Lord, it looked great on paper until I double checked to see if there was any liens against them. And sure enough, there was a lien recorded in the same county for $174,000 for the IRS. Well, that blew my complete, there's no way I can make any money on it, right? So first thing I do when I call these people, and we'll get into this in a minute, but first thing I do is I'd say, if they're interested in selling, I'd go, what do you think it's worth? You know, because they may say it's worth 140. You don't know. Let them make the first, give a first value in your opinion. Now, these are items that if you'll notice it says file checklist, we require these. You guys should require this information too of yourself, okay? Mortgage information, conclusion, creditor information and the owners, all that stuff. It's really easy to use, guys. But also watch the other videos to get more in depth. I just wanted you to get kind of an overview first, because I know that the title is something people tend to not really consider or do a good job on. The other thing I want to really point out here is often if you do searches like this, some of the counties out there will make you choose, okay, is it the grantee or the grantor? Always choose both, because okay, if it's a deed, I will be the grantee. I'll be the one that received it. That's when it's put into my name, I'm the grantee. Whoever sold it to me is the grantor. Mortgages are different. I'm the grantor. I'm giving the right to that bank to foreclose on me, and the bank is the grantee. So you've got to, guys, you got to check grantee and grantor to make sure you get everything, okay? I hope this has helped as a summary, but make darn sure you watch the other video, or I might put up two videos that show you how to do title work that were pretty much designed for different programs, but it's the same deal. Even if it shows you a different worksheet or whatever, it'll show you, one's really intense title work, and I take you through step by step. The other one's just a basic one, but that's important that you watch that as well. Thanks, guys.